Hello, this is Dr. Kamani, licensed clinical psychologist, and I wanted to just come on and talk about LinkedIn trolls. This is something that is new to me. I've talked about it just briefly, but it is very disturbing to me. So, LinkedIn trolls, what I've heard, are employers who spy on their employees via LinkedIn. And so it incites a level of fear amongst employees, excuse me. So just think about if you're an employee and you really don't like your job and you feel stuck there and you feel that you're stuck there because of fear. So think about that. And then you're trying to look at other opportunities for yourself, hopefully outside of work hours, but you're doing this and now you have it, your employer is following you and tracking you and spying on you. So I've talked about this before that sometimes jobs, particularly toxic jobs, operate very much like plantations. So the sense of power and control, inciting fear, punishing people just in terms of the thought or even planning to leave to something better. And usually leaving because you're trying to get your freedom. Okay. So I just want to say to LinkedIn trolls, really, I mean, get a life, basically. Get a life, okay? And what are you doing? Just think about what you're doing and just think about the harm that you are causing employees if they cannot even in their free time try to look at something that might be better for them. That is a sense of control and intimidation. And I've heard from many people that have talked about this situation that they have either experienced it and or they have heard about this happening with their employer, just talking about that's what they do. Okay. So again, to those LinkedIn trolls, I want to say to you, please stop doing that. That is really harmful to other people. And I heard someone say this before, which I completely agree. That's like bullying through the laptop. You're bullying people in their own homes, minding their own business, trying to create a life that they want for themselves because of your own insecurities. So, again, LinkedIn trolls, please stop that. For those of you who are concerned about LinkedIn trolls, I've heard some things that people have done. So hopefully you talk to them about that because I don't want to give the LinkedIn trolls information about how you're going around it. Okay. But I hope that you are not allowing these LinkedIn trolls to stop you from still pursuing or investigating something better or different for yourself. Now, when you find out that your employer, or if you find out that your employer is engaging in LinkedIn trolling, to me, that's another sign that's not a healthy work environment for you. That sounds very disturbing. Okay. So, again, for you, recognize what you need for yourself, consult with other people about ways to get around the LinkedIn trolls so that you don't feel that you are blocked from opportunities because you can't explore things because you're concerned that your employer is following what you're doing. Okay. Very disturbing. So I do want to say something too that when I saw or when I see comments that people make on my posts in terms of, can my employer see my posts? Can they see my comments? Things like that. The level of fear is so real. I've talked to so many people about this. And so when I offer different things, when I have videos, I really want people to be able to engage in the conversation, particularly when I'm live. I want you to be able to ask questions. I want you to be able to comment. However, I'm coming to the understanding now that people sometimes are so fearful that their employer is watching that they don't comment. And so I hope that you find other ways to get support. If there's other ways that you would like to contact me, you go to my website, lethingswithclimbconsulting.com, and you can ask a question to me there because your employer is not following you there. Okay. Also, in terms of, I even had this consideration when with Anne Marie and I came up with a master class. So Anne Marie and I are having the master class coming up June 27th and 28th. And it's talking about the master class is called Save Yourself, Channel Your Inner Harriet, so that you can leave that toxic job with your sanity and your coins. So something that we talked about in light of the expressed fear from numerous people is that we have put some things in place so that there's a certain level of privacy if you decide to participate in the masterclass. We don't want you to not go to the masterclass or not register for the masterclass because you are fearful that other people will find out you're there. So just briefly, some of the things that you can do, and just to let you know how it's set up, it will be on Zoom, but you're going to need a link and a meeting ID. So no random person is going to show up in the Zoom. Okay. The other thing is the way that it's set up is that you will not be on camera. So you don't have to worry about that in terms of people recognizing you. And if you are so uncomfortable about using your name, you can use a made up name in terms of identifying yourself on Zoom or if you type in a question. Okay. So we've really tried to address that because of LinkedIn trolls. Okay. So again, LinkedIn trolls, please stop doing this. It's not healthy for anybody. Clearly, it is not healthy for you. There's something going on. There's some type of void in your life that you are spending time spying on people on LinkedIn. Please stop doing that. Okay. Then for those of you who might be listening and this is happening to you, again, I'm not going to tell the LinkedIn trolls how you work around it, but my hope is that you know people who've worked around it and who have found ways around it, and you talk to them. Okay. And lastly, if you want to be in the master class, but you're concerned about engaging or registering or participating in the master class because you think your employer is going to find out, as I covered before, there's ways around that too. Okay. So again, the masterclass is Save Yourself, Channel Your Inner Harriet, so that you leave that toxic hustle job with your sanity and your coins. So S. Emery Archer and I are going to be doing this masterclass. It's a two-part masterclass. And so S. Emery Archer is the anti-HR lady. She's also an attorney. So she's going to be talking about, and it's divided into two sections. So the first day is focusing on how to get out, how to get yourself ready to get out. And the second part of the masterclass focuses on now that you've left, what are some things that you need to keep in mind or to follow up on? Okay. So Anne Marie will be talking about the HR part. So in terms of documentation, how to tell the difference between a hostile and toxic job, and what you need to do to get your coins. If there's money for you that you are leaving on the table and leaving a toxic job, she'll be covering that. And I'll be talking about the psychological part. So I've talked in my videos, if you've seen me talk before, I talk a lot about being a toxic job survivor. Anne Marie's a toxic job survivor too. So we know what the experience is like. And we talk about how to help you get out so that you are able to get the healing you need and you get your money. Okay. So again, for me, I'll be talking about the psychological part. There's a lot of psychological blockage that keeps us in toxic jobs, particularly fear. I would say fear is the biggest thing. I know I experienced it. I know the women that I work with have talked about fear keeping them in a toxic job. So that's something that we'll work on in the masterclass is how to confront your fears. We'll also talk about the grief process in relation to leaving a toxic job, how to develop your wellness plan, and also as after you leave a toxic job, many times there's some residual trauma to that, which can be surprising. And I know I've experienced it. Sometimes I still experience it here and there. So it will talk about, or I'll talk about how to address that as well. Okay. So all of that will be accessible to you. Again, as you're watching this, if you have any anxiety that you will be found out by being in the master class, we have worked around that. Okay. So again, this master class is for Black women. Okay. So if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. Lifting Us with Climb Consulting, Wellness Services. And again, I can't say it enough to those who may be trolling on LinkedIn. Okay. But my hope is people who are listening that you know that there's ways to work around LinkedIn trolls. And the hope is that the LinkedIn trolls get the help they need so they stop doing this. Okay. So again, thank you for tuning in and I will talk to you later. Bye.